Hey there, this is Shraddha. Welcome back to my channel. First of all, how are you guys doing and what's the weather at your place? It's raining cats and dogs in here in my place, and I'd say I'm having a nice monsoon time with some nice monsoon reads. We can talk about them in a new video probably. Right, but I'm dropping by to share a great news with you people. I had the immense pleasure and honor to talk to the phenomenal author Scarlett Kol, and okay, if I were to summarize our conversation into a single word, I'd say it was wonderful. I had such an amazing time talking to her. We talked about Harry Styles, one of my most favorite topics, all-time favorites probably, and One Direction, her books, her writing schedule, her favorite words, and so many other fun stuff. So if you're interested, watch this video up till the very end. Also, please tolerate my presence for few more seconds. If you're new to my channel, do not forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. As I told you before, this bell doesn't jingle, so do not illude yourself into believing that if you click it, there might be any sort of noise. I hate to break it to you, there won't. Okay, that was it. Please continue watching. Please welcome the USA Today best-selling author Scarlett Kol. First of all, thank you very, very much, Scarlett, for doing this with me. I'm so honored that I got this opportunity to talk to you. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Oh, that's really sweet. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. It's super fun. I love being able to talk to readers and stuff. It's great.
Me too. All right. So as I told you before, I've got a bunch of questions for you. Do you mind answering them?
Absolutely.
Okay, sure. Let's start. I've got a lot, so I'll bombard you with the first one. What has influenced you the most as a writer?
What's influenced me most as a writer? Probably, well, I've always really liked to tell stories. I talked a lot as a kid. That really hasn't stopped much as an adult. And I was always telling people stories all the time, whether they wanted to hear them or not. So as I was growing up, I was a big reader, like a lot of writers are, and I got into a lot of fantasy and kind of horror novels. Christopher Pike was a big influence for me when I started out. I loved reading all of his stories. I think that's probably how I got into writing more standalones at the beginning of my career. And then I got into Anne Rice, which was vampires, and I would really love to write a vampire story one day. I haven't yet, but maybe one time I will. And I just really had that love for that kind of paranormal fantasy kind of stuff. And as I got older, I still liked those sorts of things. I liked reading the watching the Vampire Diaries, and I watched the originals and Sabrina and all of that kind of stuff. And for a while there, I kind of got off writing and went away to university, got married, had some kids, all that sort of thing. And then a girlfriend came to me in my late 20s and said, I have this book and it sounds like something you would probably like. And I was like, okay, Twilight, I've like never heard of this before. I have no idea what this is. And she gave me Twilight just before the last book was coming out. And I read them in like 3 days. And they aren't my biggest influence at all, but they were definitely something that reminded me of all those things I loved to read as a teenager and as a kid. And it kind of pushed me into the, hey, if people are writing this stuff again and people are still loving the stuff that I always loved, why don't I do it? Why don't I get back into writing? And that's what kind of re-energized me as a writer. I was a writer as a teenager, and then I stopped for a long time. And then after reading that series, I was like, okay, no, this is something I'm meant to do. So.
Okay, now I have this doubt, which is a little different, but I really want to know. Are you Team Damon or Team Stefan?
I'm Team Damon, I believe. I found... are you not? You're Team Stefan?
I'm not Team Stefan. I am not a big fan of Stefan at all.
Okay, good. I was gonna say, I just felt that, so Damon had his flaws for sure, but he laid out there who he was. He wasn't, I felt like Stefan was always just, trying so hard to be the good guy that it was just almost annoying at points. And don't get me wrong, Paul Wesley is still amazing. I wouldn't complain. Yeah, no, I was always a Damon fan. I loved his attitude. He reminds me of a book series by, oh my gosh, I can't remember who the author is, but it's the Dante Walker series. If you've ever read the Dante Walker series, very Damon feel.
Okay, I need to read it now.
It's
And
really good. It's a trilogy. It's super, super, super duper good.
and are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
I have to go with Edward. I know he has his flaws and stuff, but I could not get into Jacob. Even when they had his voice in those last few books, I was just like, found myself skimming. He didn't appeal to me. I don't know why.
Yeah, during the last book, I didn't like the Jacob part at all. I was like, let's skip it.
Yeah.
I was
Exactly.
yeah. Okay, so my next question. Do you like audiobooks, physical books, or ebooks better, and why?
I love a physical book. First off, they're just so pretty, and I love to have them on my bookshelf. But for me, audiobooks, I can't get into them. I zone out. Like, I try, but I'll listen to them, and then my mind will wander somewhere else, and then I have to, like, back it up and try and figure out where I am. So I kind of get frustrated with audiobooks. And ebooks are good, but they don't have that same unplugged quality that I find with a physical book. I do a lot of work on computer during the day, or I'm on my phone. So when I'm reading on my phone or a tablet, I don't feel like I'm walking away from that stuff. But a physical book is a total unplug for me. I will read ebooks if it's something that I'm really not sure about and I just want to try out an author. I'll try it on ebook. Or I've had series where I've read the first book and it's midnight and I need the next one right now. I will get the ebook and I will read it in ebook, and then if I love it that much, I'll go buy the paperback later to finish it off.
I agree. I do the same thing when it comes to ebooks. All right. Okay, now this one's cool. What behind the scenes tidbit in your life would probably surprise your readers the most?
I am a super messy person, and I'm a messy, organized person. I think that people would be surprised about. I think crafting a story and having all that sort of stuff together, people kind of have this assumption that you can follow one thread all the way to the other. But I am super messy. I know where everything is, but it is a total disaster in my office. When I was in high school, I used to open my locker and every single day, everything would fall out into the hallway. And my room was always messy. I had my parents put up like caution tape on my door several times because my room was just a complete disaster. But I knew where everything was, and I was super duper organized, and I knew all of those sorts of things, but I can never remember to put things away. I'm not a dirty person. There's not food and everything everywhere, but there's like I have a bad habit of just not putting my stuff away, and I'm a super duper messy person. Plus, oh yeah, I have a degree in criminology, and I'm an accountant during the day.
Oh, that's great. And by the way, I too am a very messy person. Even if I, open this cupboard right behind me, books would come storming out. And if I turn the you find books and clothes all over. I'm really messy, and then one thinks I'm
But
small.
it looks great on video. Everything looks so organized and so pretty. I was looking at your shelves. I'm kind of jealous.
Created for video. If I turn the camera and find the real scene, it's a mess. I have to clean it because I have to head out tomorrow. Oh, messy. Right. My next question. What is the funniest typo you have ever written?
Oh gosh, funniest typos. Sometimes when I'm writing, I use dictation. And when you use dictation, you get the best typos because the program is trying to figure out what you're saying, not just spelling it wrong. So I have gotten some interesting ones, but the last book that I was working on was a book called Sleepless, and I had two witches in there. One was named Kasha and one was named Debria, and they were constantly changed to Caution and Debris. So I was constantly, I had debris all over my book, and I needed to change that out, or it was saying caution all the time, and I couldn't remember, like, what was this for, and why is this here? And then once I figured out, oh, this is this person's name, it was a lot easier to follow through with. But sometimes I get really weird ones. I had a character named Kellen, and one time it came through as a watermelon, and yeah. Character names usually don't work out too great in dictation unless you, like, train your program to know what you're talking about.
All right, my next question. What is your favorite time to write and why?
My favorite time to write is actually in the afternoons, which is unfortunate because I do work during the day, so I don't actually get that opportunity very often. I used to be a night writer. I used to write a lot in the evenings, but I just find lately I'm just tired and I want to go to bed. And I don't get to, I can edit at night, but I can't write at night as much. I also did a test. There was a challenge a little while ago about writing sprints and trying to figure out what your best time of day was. So you would write at different times of day for an entire week and try to figure out what is your best like period of time to write and about how long sitting down to write makes you the most productive. And no surprise, it was in the afternoons, usually between 1 and 3 I find is my most productive. I'm more awake in the morning, but for some reason I just don't get words out the same way that I do in the afternoon. And most of the stuff that I write in the afternoons I'm much happier with for some reason. I don't know if it's just my brain's finally awake or that's that lull from the work day where you're just, my brain starts to wander. I don't know, but afternoons tend to be my peak writing time.
All right. Okay. How do you think being a writer has helped you as a person?
Being a writer has helped me as a person by, I think it's just kind of opened my eyes to other people. And when you're creating characters, obviously you can't create the same character over and over and over again. You're dealing with people with different backgrounds, different parents, different heritages, different races, different cultures, aliens sometimes. It just really, there's so many different things that go into a book and your characters that you have to be cognizant about. You have to be able to put yourself at least in their shoes a little bit to understand where they're coming from. And you have to be very careful as to, you know, what they say and how they say it. And when you're reviewing lines of dialogue, just because it's something you would say with your friends or that makes sense in your life, does that make sense on a greater scale? So I find that I've just been a lot more sensitive and a lot more aware of the people around me and a lot more understanding of people in my own life by having to spend that time to be understanding and cognizant of these fictional people that live in my head.
All right. So what is your favorite word and why?
My favorite word is serendipity, just because it's really fun to say. It's a cool word. I love words that start with S. I don't know why. But it is, and it's, I love the meaning of it. It is basically a happy coincidence or something that you didn't plan that came out with a positive aspect. I think that's awesome, and I think that that happens so many times in our lives that we don't really appreciate enough the happy accidents. We always remember the bad things that happened or that bad day we had or a string of bad luck, but we don't always, you know, celebrate the happy accidents that happen or coincidences that occur in our lives. Plus, there's that ice cream store named Serendipity, and they have a deep fried Oreo sundae that is to die for. I don't know if they still sell it, but I had it in Las Vegas a few years ago, and it was so good.
Oh my god. First off, there's this really funny thing that happened to me. I got obsessed with this word called melancholy, and I named after playlist on my Amazon Music account, and you know, named melancholy, and most of them, each playlist had like a different artist. One is having Taylor Swift, Shawn Mendes, One Direction, and so on. I was so literally crazy about that word. I had everything after that word, and I don't know, like I guess it's a beautiful word. I don't know, is it depressive or whatever, but I just got obsessed with it. Has it ever happened with you? Obsession with the word and you try to use it everywhere?
Yes, that I find that with my books, I will always have like a word of the day, and it's very much, I will go through a book and I just, oh, so apparently, and I won't even realize as I'm writing it, but I'll get to the end of the book and I'll edit and I'll be like, oh, so that's my word of the day. I've just decided that I really like the word crestfallen, so I'm going to use it all the time. And then in the next book, it'll be a different word. It'll just be, I've heard it somewhere, it's in a song or on TV or something, and then I've incorporated it in like so many different places. And unfortunately, when you have those $5 words and stuff, you can only use them sparingly or they get really obnoxious. So I usually have to edit most of them out. But if I have my word of the day, usually makes it in a couple of times per book.
All right. Okay, now this is really funny. Do you Google yourself?
I do, but not often. And I kind of do it like this. I don't really want to see what comes up, but I do. I think it's important, especially when you are, you know, a writer or an actor or anybody who is in like the public eye of any way, to know what's being said about you online and to know what, you know, what are the top 3 posts. Are they going to my website and I have control over that information? Is the first thing that shows up on Google an awful review? What do I want to do with that? When people look me up, what are they going to find? So I think it's really important to know that. However, I get really nervous about what I'm going to find when I do check it. It's probably, I don't know, maybe once a year or so I'll punch it in and see what happens.
I've stopped doing it altogether because apparently I told this to Evangeline too, that I share a name with a saint, and whenever you know my name, the photo of that saint will always show up, and it's so embarrassing and exasperating. I don't know myself at all now.
Oh no.
I hate it. All right.
Oh, that's frustrating. Well, there is a Scarlett Kol. I don't know if that's her name or not, but she was on YouTube and she used to do like covers of Coldplay songs. And so she was the top for a really long time, but I haven't seen that for a while. So anytime anybody would look me up, they'd be like, "You don't look like her." I'm like, "Yeah, I don't," because yeah, she lived in an Asian country somewhere. I'm not really sure which one it was. It's been a long time since I've looked it up. And I was like, "Yeah, we don't look alike." Of course not. We're not the same person.
Yeah, it happens. So speaking of YouTube, I just saw your latest video come out. It was, band videos about taking inspiration.
Writing tips from boy bands.
Yeah, right. I haven't checked that one out yet. I just saw the title and I started to watch it, but then I saw, was like, okay, my battery's draining and I need to play video. So I stopped it right away. I'll watch it all, obviously. But what I wanted to ask is that, what is your favorite band or singer?
Well, it kind of changes kind of what mood I'm in. I love music. Music is a huge part of my process. And when I'm writing, I need to have a playlist. My couple needs to have a love song. Like, it needs to happen. And it just kind of depends on how I feel. I do want to go look up all of these melancholy playlists you're talking about, because those would totally be my jam. I love listening to that kind of stuff. But in this video, the video you're talking about, I mentioned Backstreet Boys. I've been a huge Backstreet Boys fan for like forever. I love pop music. I've always really loved up-tempo pop music. And sometimes it's just a song. Sometimes it's an artist that I love. Lately, I've been listening to, who do I have on my playlist right now? I've been listening to a lot of Panic at the Disco, actually, lately. So I've been doing a lot of Panic at the Disco. I've been doing some Backstreet Boys is always on my playlist. I do love Taylor Swift. I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan. And yeah, I will James Arthur lately. And I am blanking on this guy's name. Oh my gosh, I don't know why I am. But there was a newer artist that I just picked up on, and I can't remember his name. My apologies, I can't think of it right now. But yeah, I'm very eclectic. I will listen to pretty much anything that's got a good beat to it, or it has the right feel for what I want. And I love dance music. I love country music. I love pop music and emo and like whatever. The only thing I'm really not into is like the hardcore death metal. That's just a little too much for me. But other than that, I will pretty much listen to anything. Opera, whatever.
All right. Okay. Now this is again something I want to ask. Are you a fan of One Direction?
Absolutely. I went and saw them in concert. They're so good. I was really surprised actually at their concert, because I've seen a lot of boy band concerts and they're always usually so flashy, and they know they're kind of cheesy, so they just kind of lean into that. But One Direction, it was a stadium show and they came out and they just rocked it. Like, there wasn't a ton of costume changes. They were just like, we're going to come here and we're going to have a good time and we're going to sing and we're going to do our thing and you guys are going to have an awesome time. That's it. And they were so good. They were so, so good. I was really impressed, actually.
Did you get a chance to meet them?
No, I did not.
All right.
That would have been awesome, but I'm still a Harry Styles fan. Still a Harry Styles fan.
Did you check out his latest video, Watermelon Sugar? You want to grab for that? Yeah.
Yeah, I have. And it's so catchy.
Yes, it is. And at first, I didn't even know what was the meaning of watermelon sugar. And I had to Google. And I was like, oh my god, it's something really special than that. Oh, all right.
But by that point, you're already singing it in your head and it's too late.
All right. What are your favorite novels?
My favorite novels? Originally when I got started into writing, obviously the Vampire Chronicles by Anne Rice, that's the Interview with the Vampire series, was a huge thing for me. It really set me on that paranormal path, which was really important. I really liked the Luck series by Jennifer Armentrout. That one was really great. The Sweet Evil series by Wendy Higgins is really, really good. I like that one a lot. The Fallen series by Lauren Kate is still one of my favorites. I actually read that she wrote an article about writing and reading like a writer and how to break down stories. And there was a little blurb for her book at the bottom, and I was like, well, if I'm going to try this, I might as well try it on this book because it sounds interesting. And yeah, I really liked it. The third book wasn't my favorite, but the last one was just so great. I loved it. And Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Vicious is so good. I love her writing. And the Maggie Stepfader, The Raven Kings. The Raven Boys, sorry. The Raven Boys. Last book's The Raven King. The Raven Boys by Maggie Stepfader. It's such beautiful writing, and she never talks down to her readers, and the characters are just so full and vibrant, and I just, if I could write like Maggie Stepfader, that would just be my world.
I love your writing style already. Don't change it. I love it. And
Thank you.
Good friend, and she's not a huge reader, but she also fell in love with the book Falling. First of all, I guess it was the cover that attracted her, and then she was like, unstoppable. Like, no, seriously, she was like, I need to finish it and all that.
Oh, yay! That's exciting. I love when people love the stories.
She was, thank you, I guess.
Because as a writer, when you sit there and you read through some things, you're like, oh my god, I don't know what people are going to think of this. Are they going to hate it? I like it. Am I just weird? It's tough sometimes. And right now, I'm actually working on the third book in that series. It's a series, but they're all standalones because they're all different fairy tales. So I'm working on the third book right now, and I'm in that point where I'm just like, what are people going to think of this? Is this going to be a little bit too strange for people and all that kind of stuff? But then when I talk to people, like some of my writing friends about it, they're like, that's cool, that's awesome. So it's nice to know that when it gets out there that people are enjoying it. So thank you very much.
I can't wait for the third one to come out then. All right, my next question. If you didn't try, what would you do for work?
Well, I only write part-time right now. I have a full-time job. I'm a professional accountant for a nonprofit organization, so that keeps me busy a lot during the day. But if I got to just choose anything I wanted to be, I think I would be like a pastry chef or baker. I have a really bad sweet tooth. Horrible sweet tooth, and I just really like doing that kind of stuff. I do decorate cakes and stuff for friends and things like that, and I just enjoy doing it. It's a creative outlet, and it's fun, and it brings people joy, and I think that's something I would probably really get into.
Okay, I half expected you to tell me because Harry Styles worked in a bakery. I wanted to do that. All right. What book are you currently reading?
I am currently reading a book, just right here. I am reading The Ivies by Alexa Dunn. I just started it. I don't know what it is about summertime, but I really like to read thrillers in the summer. Oops. Did I lose you? Yeah, oh, there you are. Sorry. Yeah, it seemed a little off. Okay, so I'm reading The Ivies by Alexa Dunn. It's a thriller, kind of look private school kind of thing. I just started it, so I don't really have much of an opinion on it yet because it's only a couple of chapters in. But I really like reading thrillers and romances during the summer, so I will chalk up on a bunch of like contemporary romances and thrillers before September happens, and then I'll get back into like reading paranormal kind of stuff again.
Well, if that's the case, I would recommend these two authors. I actually talked them to, and they're super amazing. One is this, and the second one's Lee Walker. Both of them are absolutely mind-blowing. Quinn is more into werewolf stuff, and Lee's more into vampire stuff, and both of them are absolutely mind-blowing. And Quinn actually... Awesome.
I've heard of Lee. I just haven't read any of her stuff.
She is great. I have read 9 books written by her now.
Oh, wow. I'll definitely check. I always like trying out new authors, right? Like everybody has their own voice and their own way of doing things, right? Like you can read a million Wolf Shifter books and they're all going to be different because they're all going to be different authors and have different vibes to them, right? So I have a series that I'm planning for a couple years down the road that's going to have Wolf Shifters in it. And yeah, I'm probably going to do it really different than whoever else is out there, right? So.
Yes. All right. So my last question. If describe yourself in 3 words, what would they be?
3 words to describe myself. One, I think I'm passionate. When I get onto something that I really am interested in, or the people that I care about, all that kind of stuff, I put like everything I've got into it. So I would say that I'm a passionate person. I would say I'm a loud person. Maybe not necessarily loud, but maybe excitable. I like to talk. If you can get me going on a topic, I will go on forever. I love to be around people. I love music. I love just like upbeat and that kind of vibe, which is great. And I am objective, I guess, would be the other one. I'm really good at playing devil's advocate for stuff. I'm always the first one when somebody's coming up with an idea, but what about this? Did you think about this? Did you, whatever, which can sometimes come across as cynical, but I can usually play it well because I am a relatively upbeat person, that, you know, you just want people to make the best decisions that they can and have the most information. So I guess those would probably be my 3 descriptors, hopefully. That's how I see myself. I'm sure other people see me differently, but...
Here's the thing. If somebody tells me or starts talking about something I really love, I keep on talking about it, and I won't stop. I can tell something once in my family now, because my sister is the same, my father is the same, my mother is quite quiet. She's really, you know, calm and serene. She won't start until you really push her, and that's, I guess, something I like about her. But never. That's something I guess I inherited from my dad. He has having the same habits. If he starts in something, you can't stop him. He is a very passionate speaker. He won't stop. He'll, you know, keep on talking, and my sister is the same. Wait,
but those people are infectious, though. Like, it's great to hear people who love what they're talking about. Like, you can totally hear things that they're passionate about and things that they love through their tone of voice and how they talk about things. And yes, sometimes people will drag on, but when you talk to somebody who really loves their content, it's amazing because you can feel it when you talk to them.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Lastly, any message you would like to give to your readers?
Any messages from my readers? Well, if anybody's reading my books, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Every time I put out a book, I'm like, nobody's going to read this. You know, sounds really self-deprecating, but I'm sure a lot of authors do that. And it's like, oh, I don't know how many people are going to read this. Are they going to like it? All that kind of stuff. And you doubt yourself. And then somebody comes back and like, oh, I loved it. And you're like, yes. So anybody who has ever picked up any of my books or considering picking up one of my books, thank you so, so much. I really appreciate it. And I absolutely love you for doing that. I hope you enjoy the stories. And I guess just in general, whatever it is you want to read, just read it. However you want to read, in whatever format, audiobook, ebook, library, whatever. When I was growing up, so many people made fun of me for what I read because I read a lot of paranormal when it wasn't cool. And it was just like, I just kept doing it anyway. And obviously I've become a writer in that sort of realm. And had I listened to those people, would I have been a writer at all? Would I have found that passion for books that I have, or would I have given it up completely and just had this empty hole of my life? But, you know, there's so many people I know that they get, oh, listening to audiobooks isn't really reading. Yeah, it is. You're escaping into a world and you're getting the opportunity to, you know, expand your mind and see other perspectives, even if it is, you know, paranormal or fantasy or something like that that isn't real. Like, you are growing as a person with everything you read. And some people just need that escape, and it's that great thing in their life that they bring that brings them joy. And whatever it is, as long as you're not hurting anybody, read what you want, read however you want, and don't listen to anybody else who tells you different.
Very, very deep and philosophical, but really enjoying. Thank you so much, Scarlett. It really great to talk to you, and as I told before, it was my honor that I got this golden opportunity. Thank you so very, very much for both.
You're welcome.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you so much for watching this video up till the very end. I hope you enjoyed our conversation as much as I did, because frankly, I had a field day talking to her. I'll be really honest, I had a blast and a very nice day after talking to her, even though it was night here and day there. I actually kind of like the time zones now. What about you guys? Do you find the time zones confusing, or you saying that they suck? Also, if you want to get a taste of Scarlett Kol, All the links to buy her books are mentioned down below in the description box. Do not forget to check it out. Also, she also, you know, gives us a little treat, I'd say, by making YouTube videos. They're mainly for writers, but readers will enjoy them too. So if you are a huge fan and you've got those, what shall I say, not exactly stalking tendencies, but probably following tendencies, do check out that YouTube channel too. This was it. I'll see you guys very soon. Till then, please start reading Scarlett's books.